finished a book and at the very end there's a little note that says something like, if you loved this book, I would love for you to leave a review? And have you ever wondered why authors do that? Well, there's a really, really good reason, because reviews are way more important than you might think, and they do not have to be very long. So stick around and I'm going to tell you all about it. Hi, my name is Jennifer Gregson. I am a YA indie author who has 3 books on the market right now, and I am currently in the process of writing my very first urban fantasy series set in New York, which is where I live. As an indie author, and honestly, I think this applies to any author, indie or traditionally published, we rely on reviews so much. They are very, very important. And I'm not sure that sort of the normal reader really understands that. For starters, reviews help boost visibility. So the world runs on algorithms, as we all know, and Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, Kobo, etc., and so forth, all of them also run on algorithms. And the more reviews your book has, regardless of if they're I think it has to be 3 or more stars, at least on Amazon, but regardless of the number, regardless of how long the review is, the more reviews your book has, the more the bookstore sort of has incentive to share it with other readers. Not only do they push it out to other readers in sort of that first page when you're doing the when you're searching for a book and you might just put in some keywords, but it's also really important to show up in the also bought. So let's say you really like one book and you look it up to see if maybe the author has another book, or maybe there's a second one in the series out or something, and then at the bottom you get that people that like this book also bought this book, and then there's a list. Reviews really help us as indie authors especially get into that list. So leaving a review, even a really, really short one sentence maybe max, helps us reach more readers. 2, and I'm pretty sure you guys can probably figure this one out, but sometimes we forget, reviews help readers make buying decisions, right? How many times have you, let's say you have a gift card or you have a limited budget to buy books? What are you looking at, right? You're going to look at the cover, you might read the book description, and then you're going to go to the reviews. You're going to see if this book is worth your time. Is this book worth your money? And reviews are going to help you figure that out. And sometimes I think we use reviews as readers, but then we forget, or we think, well, our review won't be important, or they have some reviews. Why do they need more? But the more reviews you have, the sort of more social proof, right? That's what they say in the business world. The more social proof, the more readers can be like, oh, wow, so-and-so really liked this book, or wow, I really liked that this has a strong female lead, right? Maybe the review says that. So leaving reviews for other readers helps them buy the book. So if you really loved a book, even if you just mildly liked a book, leaving a review can help someone else make a decision. And this is kind of an odd one, but number 3 is constructive reviews actually help us as authors. So what do I mean by constructive? Basically, don't be mean just to be mean. But if you really didn't like, let's say the twist didn't surprise you, right? We as authors need to know that, so that when we write our next book, we spend some more time thinking about the twist, making it more of a surprise, adding more tension, or hiding more clues, or hiding the clues better, right? That's constructive criticism. Another example is I loved the story, but I wish the character had been more outgoing. I loved this story, but I wish the main character had driven the plot more. These are things that as authors we can take into our next books. This is not going to really help that book so much, but especially for writing a series, we need to know, hey, they really loved the concept, or they really liked the world building, but the characters are falling flat. I need to do better in the second book, right? It helps the readers. And that's something that I don't think people understand about reviews. They think it's, oh, well, yes, we're going to help the algorithm, we're going to help other readers, but it can also help us as authors if you are nice about it. We want you to be honest. We really do want honest reviews. I mean, I can say that for me. I really do want you to be honest, but if it's constructive, it can actually be really helpful. And this is going to be super, super selfish, but reviews help us as authors create promo material. So I, for my third book, had an ARC team, that's advanced reader sort of people. They got an early advanced copy of my book, and I asked them to review it. That was like the exchange. And I told them to be honest. And then I took those reviews and I pulled out either sentences or whole paragraphs, and I made promo material. I put that in my newsletter. I put it up on Instagram. I talked about it. I showed it in the stories on Instagram. I talked about it on Facebook. I used those to help me market the book to other people. So it's not just helping the algorithm of that bookstore, it's also helping us market our books everywhere. So like I said, reviews don't need to be long. So let me help you with that so that you can feel more confident leaving a review that you know is going to help both other readers, the bookstore, and us. Literally, it can be as simple as, I loved this book. The main character's problem was so relatable. Or, man, I flew through this book. I read it in one night. The twist had me on the edge of my seat. I couldn't put it down. And one of my favorites is, such a fun read. I can't wait to read this author's next book. Simple, but still really valuable to both the reader and to the bookstores and to us. They really don't have to be long. If you want to get wordy, get wordy. If you want to write 2 or 3 sentences, if you want to talk about how much you like the world building, or how much you love the descriptions, or how much, what the character was going through related to so much in your life and you really fell in love with the character, or hey, there was this character I love to hate, do it. But it doesn't have to be long to be effective. So I'm just wondering, have your perspectives changed a little bit from the beginning of this video to the end? Like at the beginning, were you like, I don't really need to leave reviews. Reviews are silly. Reviews are for other people to leave. Has that changed? Do you feel like maybe you could leave reviews to help your favorite writer, especially if you have an author that you adore? Could you maybe think about leaving a really simple review on their book to help them out? I hope so. If you like this, just know that I make videos every Friday discussing my books, my indie author journey. Starting in April, I'm going to be hosting an indie author book club, so more on that in a few weeks. And I'm going to be hosting an interview with the author the first Friday in May, so get excited. If you like any of that, hit subscribe, and I will see you next week.